Hey guys, it's Charlotte. Today on Maker's Moments, we'll be showing you how to make a wooden wick candle. Candle making is an exciting and fun craft. We're going to walk you through how, in just 8 simple steps, you can make your very own luxury wooden wick candle. First, you'll want to get prepped. You're going to need the following: vessels. Today, we're going to be using 2 vessels from our Aura collection, wax, which I have behind me, fragrance oil, wooden wicks, wick clips, wick stickers, safety labels, a stirring utensil, wick trimmer, thermometer, pouring pitcher, and a double boiler. So now we're gonna get started heating things up. Make sure you're working on a heat-resistant surface that's easy to clean off. You'll want to take a damp cloth and just clean out your vessels to remove any dust or debris that might be in them. Then I've already done this part, but you'll want to take a stove-safe pot and fill it with water until it reaches about 3 inches to 12.7 centimeters in height. And you're going to want to preheat this so that the water is barely simmering but not boiling. Now I'm gonna get started melting the wax down. So today I'm using our virgin coconut soy wax by the Wooden Wick Co. This is sold in 5-pound slabs. I chose this wax because it's super easy to work with, and if this is your first time making candles, it has really great glass adhesion and fragrance throw. So you're going to want to divide your wax into small chunks. You can use a wax cutter or a knife to do this. And we're gonna break them into small chunks and then place them into the pouring pitcher. This wax is super smooth and easy to cut through. The total ounce fill of each vessel is equivalent to the amount of wax needed per vessel. So for example, if you have an 8-ounce vessel, you're going to need 8 ounces of wax. If you want to determine how much wax you need for your vessel, you can fill up a measuring cup with water and pour it into your vessel. That will tell you how much liquid you need to fill the container. If you're using a vessel from the Wooden Wick Co., like the Aura vessels, you can just look on the product page on woodenwick.com for the ounce fill for that particular vessel. If you happen to be using a flake wax instead of a wax slab like the one we're using today, you can simply weigh the flakes with a scale to determine the amount that you need to melt. For these 2 vessels, you're going to need 20 ounces of wax, which is the equivalent to roughly a 1/4 slab of the wax that we have here today. So you can divide the slab into quarters with, again, the wax cutter or the knife into 4 similar sized pieces. And then you can just use these chunks and place them into your pouring pitcher and begin to melt them. You should leave the pouring pitcher until the wax is completely liquefied and has reached the appropriate mix and pour temperature. For your wax type, if you're unsure about the mix and pour temperature, just refer to the manufacturer or product page where you purchased the wax. If you're using the virgin coconut soy like I am today in this tutorial, you can mix and pour the wax to 180 to 190 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 82 to 88 degrees Celsius. While the wax is melting, you're going to want to assemble your wicks and place them into the vessel. If you've never used wooden wicks before, they're really easy to use. They stand up straight on their own with the help of the provided wick clips. For help with which to use, you can check out our wick selection guide online for suggestions on which wick is the best for you. We've included the link below. For this candle, I'm using the Crackling Booster 0.03 in 0.625 width from the Wooden Wick Co. I'm using this wick because of the way it performs with the virgin coconut soy wax, and this particular size wick works for the Aura vessel. Understanding the relationship between wicks, wax, and vessel size is key to successful candle making with wooden wicks or cotton wicks. It isn't hard at all. There's a link below, which is a great foolproof guide to picking the right wick. So now that you have your wicks and clips ready to go, you can gently press the wick into the wick clip and just rock it back and forth until it's fully inserted in the wick clip. I'm gonna do this for both wicks and clips because I'm making 2 candles today. And now I'm going to take out my wick stickers, which you can use to adhere the wick and clip assembly to the bottom of your vessel. So you just peel the wick sticker off of its sheet, place it on the center bottom of the wick clip, and then peel away the second side of adhesive and place it in the center bottom of your vessel. Do that for both containers. And you can repeat this process no matter how many candles you're making. Just wick each one of them. Next, I'm gonna check the temperature of my wax. So I have a thermometer in here and the wax is now at the suggested mix and pour temperature. So once you've reached this perfect temperature, it's time to stir things up. I'm gonna remove the pouring pitcher and the thermometer from the double boiler. Use a heat-resistant glove to do this because the pitcher is going to be hot. Now you can measure and pour in your fragrance and stir it briskly for 2 to 3 minutes. This prolonged stirring will help the molecules of the fragrance oils actually bond with the wax molecules for consistency. Today we're using Water Lily and Rosehip from our Naturals collection at the Wood & Wick Co. It is a bright and earthy fragrance with notes of lemon, orange, rosehip, and ocean pine. So this is our 2-ounce size, which is the appropriate amount for these 2 aura vessels. This means we're going to be using 1 ounce of fragrance oil for each candle, which will give us a 10% fragrance load. To dive into the math here, the fragrance load of 10% is the amount of fragrance concentration in your total wax fill for each vessel. In this case, my aura vessels have 10-ounce wax fill each, making the ratio of fragrance concentration 1/10 or 10%, which equals 1 ounce. This is an excellent fragrance load that will give you a powerful hot and cold throw. If you're making more than 2 candles, you can refer to our fragrance percentage chart in the links below for exact details and pouring measurements based on your desired fragrance load. Okay, here we go. Now it's time to pour your candles. Slowly pour the blend of wax and fragrance into your vessel until between 1/2 inch, which is 12.7 millimeters, to 1 inch or 25.4 millimeters above the wick remains on the wax, depending on your preference and the vessel size. For bigger vessels, it's normally best to leave approximately 1 inch remaining above the vessel, but if you're using a votive or a shorter vessel, 1/2 inch should be sufficient. Okay, now you get to chill out. Let your candles set on a flat surface for at least 24 hours. Once your candles have fully cooled, you can use a pair of wick trimmers to trim your wooden wicks down to 0.2 inches or 5 millimeters above the wax. Lastly, apply safety labels to the bottom of your candles. Congrats, you're a candle maker. Once you've created your candles, it's important to make sure you properly care for them and store them. After all, these are your beautiful new creations. Make sure to trim your wick in between burns where the wood naturally breaks off. This will prevent sooting. You can trim the wick by gently pinching the burnt bits off with your fingers when the candle is completely cooled. Never burn your candle for longer than 4 hours. We recommend burning in cycles of 2 to 3 hours or until a full melt pool has been achieved. This maximizes an even burn and also maximizes the throw of your fragrance. When not in use, store your candles upright in a cool and dry environment and away from direct sunlight. Are you ready to put your newfound knowledge into practice? Everyone has an interesting first candle making story. Share yours in the comments below. If you want to purchase any of the components that I used in this tutorial video today, we're going to link them all below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay in the know on all of the latest makers tips and tricks.